Welcome to the Hoof and Fang podcast. I'm Kirt Maz.
And I'm Maz Maddox.
How's your week going?
Dude, this week has been a bitch. We're going to take some time for me to vent about my work for a second, because it's our podcast and we can do that.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so I don't know. You lived in corporate America for a heartbeat. Did you ever have to do like mandatory funtivities?
No, I never worked for a company that large.
Okay. So I don't know what they were thinking, but the powers that be, my bosses, decided to rip us away from our work for 2 days, right? So it was like laptops down, no communication to any of our teams, disconnected completely, so we could talk about pain points that we're having with other teams, like processes we think are broken and things like that. Which I felt like what we were doing was a big break in process and was making me very stressed out, right? So it was things like we had to do a bunch of icebreakers and breakout rooms and work on problems together and just stuff. And at one point, I remember we had to put together these little trophies of like an acorn hot glued to like a wooden block, and we had to color it and like theme it. And I'm sitting there participating in this asinine project, being like, what am I doing?
What because the fuck is this? Yeah, Jesus.
Exactly. What the fuck is this? And I knew as soon as I got into my computer, it was going to be a dumpster fire, because there's all these big projects happening. So even though I had like an out of office being like, hey, team's offsite, boop-a-doo, if there is no central person for a category, they're just off the map. If people have questions, it's just a fire that just keeps burning, right? So our normal recording day, I had to be like, hey, we're going to push it out because it's running long, right? Whatever. So that day I got home around 5, right? So Wednesday, I finally had to go into my emails and check some stuff, because there was like a big drop happening that night and there was all this stuff happening. It was so bad.
You mean the rest of the world didn't stop?
Yeah, the rest of the world didn't stop. Exactly. So
rude.
I'm like over lunch looking at all these fires happening, and I'm sitting there like working on trying to squish it, trying to push them, like get the fires out. And at one point, one of the managers starts talking to us like we're children and starts being like, if you can hear me, clap your hands and stuff like that. We're adults, right? Like, so I was already not having it. So I didn't even acknowledge she was doing that. And I kept working. And she was like, guys, we need to have our laptops down. Like we need to be working on our team building. And I finally just stood up with my laptop and I was like, I have fires to put out because this is happening. And I looked at my boss. I was like, Rob, can I go? And he was like, yep. And I was like, bye. And I just left.
Good.
Done. So I ended up missing the second day completely because of all the fires that had started from the previous day. And then we weren't able to record again because the fires were still happening.
Yeah.
I didn't get home until like 6:00. And then I had to jump on to a call that lasted until about 10 o'clock at night, because we were just putting things out and just trying to get things under control. So it was a disaster.
Yeah.
And I'm still not caught up with stuff.
Is it like
I worked...
Do other people in other departments just not have that same immediacy because they're not working online?
It's a lot of like, what's the plan for this? Why isn't this working? And the person who can answer that question, me, was out of pocket because I had to go paint an acorn. You know what I mean? So it was just dumb. So this whole week has just been me trying desperately to get caught up and not being able to achieve that. So it has been a long, long week of that.
Do you feel closer to your fellow employees? Did you learn a lot?
Closer because we're all in the same bucket right now. Like, I went and talked to my coworkers today because I was like, I was walking around with my laptop, like talking to them and talking to other people. And I was like, do you feel like you got anything out of this? And everyone's like, no, I'm behind. It's like, at least we can agree on that. So
maybe
I did.
maybe that was the plan all along.
Yeah. I mean,
They're
if it
getting
was,
you to find camaraderie in hating the corporate overlords.
yeah, I mean, it worked because all of us now
Mhm.
are just miserable and tired and not at all like, I can't wait to jump in and rah company. Now we're just
Yeah.
like, are you guys stupid? It's just,
You know,
oof.
sometimes the fastest way to an alliance is a common enemy.
Hey, you're not wrong.
These bitches
I
might have
think-
known what they were doing and be like, we're going to make them do the most ridiculous icebreakers and like personal development bullshit. And then they're all going to be on the same team about how shitty this whole thing was. And they'll have to be so productive for a few days because we put them 2 days behind schedule.
Masterminds.
You know?
Yeah.
If somebody out there in corporate
maybe-
America is listening and you've used this strategy, just DM us. We promise we won't talk about it publicly,
Yeah.
but let us know.
If this was the master plan and I just did not pick up on it until this moment, please let me know.
Yeah.
Maybe I fell into the trap.
Or it says something about the way I think that I'm like,
Yeah,
Maybe.
maybe you were supposed to be a CEO, man.
you know, maybe this wasn't genuine at all. This was never what you thought it was, and yet it still worked because
You were meant to be a supervillain.
aligned. Maybe I probably would be good at it. Sadly,
I think you would be actually. Yeah, that'd be fun. I would love to be like a peon or an underling in your grand scheme.
Ooh, I would need some underlings.
Yeah, I could help with that.
Yeah,
I don't
okay.
feel confident enough that I could be a mastermind. I don't think I could put the pieces together, but I could definitely assist.
Sure.
I could be a good like evil assistant.
Some good tech support.
Yeah. I'm evil tech support.
I'll manage.
I love that.
The website.
You know what? I'm putting that down. That's a plot buddy. Evil tech support.
Thank you for calling Supervillain Central. This is Marky. How can I help you?
Yes. Evil tech. It's on a napkin now.
It's a workplace
Excellent.
comedy.
Yes, I love that. I can do so much with that. Okay, TM. Nobody take that. I like that a lot.
TM. Well, my unfortunately, my week has not been as dramatic or bad. Frankly, it's been pretty good. So yeah,
Oh, that's
just
good.
getting shit done, and I've reached the point where we're going away this weekend with some friends, and then we're doing a Minnesota trip the week after the 4th of July to see John's family.
Nice.
And so it's just that I'm running up against some deadlines that like, and this is like from weeks ago when I was like, had some allergies or maybe that little cold.
Yeah.
Like everything's just kind of been pushed a little bit and it hasn't been a problem until now when I'm approaching these deadlines in a couple of weeks. That's like, oh, I won't be able to push it a couple days because I won't be here. So I do actually have to get it all done. And I was going to come in to try to catch up on some stuff this last weekend, but it was the bike race that happens downtown.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't have been able to get to the office because
dang it,
I've gotten trapped here before because the roads are closed from like 8 to 3 and I would get here before 8 and I would walk out at 1 and be like, I guess I'm not leaving. I'm just here until this is finished.
I think that happened to you last year or maybe the year before.
It was a couple years ago, I
happened.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I came in at like 7:30 and I parked and I went inside and I got work done and it was time to leave and I was like, the roads are closed. I literally can't go anywhere. There are bike riders speeding past, so I'm not like I couldn't even cross the road to get, so anyways, I lost that day of catch up this last weekend. And it's like, oh, darn, if only I had known in advance, but I didn't find out until Saturday. So I did have to take a full weekend this weekend, which is like,
I mean, silver lining, at least you get a weekend.
It's not the worst thing in the world to have happened.
It could be way worse.
But anyways, so that when that happens, like my procrastinator brain like kicks in and it's like, okay, now you have to get this much done every single day. And, you know, I can do it when I have to do it. It's just, when there's any amount of leeway, it'll be like, we can get 40 pages done instead of 50. It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah.
It's fine.
Like, you liar brain.
Yeah. You asshole brain from yesterday. Why didn't you make me get this done?
Yes.
So yeah, productive week. And I'm working on some fun stuff. I'm working on the sequel to A Circle of Stars, which is fun. Both because it's like YA new adult and also because it's like sci-fi fantasy, gaze in space. So And as we've talked about before, like I love my romances, but I need a break every now and again. And this is definitely a break, even though there is, a love connection in the book.
Yeah.
But
yeah, makes sense.
So yeah, overall good week. Except for my podcast partner kept being like, oops, can't do it.
Yeah, just kidding.
Nope, sorry, can't do it again. All right.
Yeah. We're supposed to have a happy hour mixer thing today at 4, and I was like, I'm not going. It's like, guys, one,
sorry.
I've been trapped with you for 2 days. 2, I have to get my podcast done. I finally told them, I was like, I do a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I have to record. I pushed it off for 2 days because of this stupid stuff. So no, I'm not going to go have drinks with you.
Although that would have been the most fun thing you had done with your coworkers this week.
Probably. Because we can get a little drunk and talk shit. That sounds fantastic. But I don't have time now. They hogged all of it.
Instead, you're here. You're talking shit here. So
exactly. Yeah. I'm having way more fun here and drinking my iced coffee and talking shit with you.
Well, we'll talk some more shit. But before we jump in, just some reminders. We are doing our Animorphs TV reactions over on the Patreon every Thursday. And a little bit of what is it? Maintenance or updates, house cleaning, a little bit of house cleaning or whatever for everybody. Just so you know, we will have an episode next week, Friday, which is the 4th of July here in the States. And then we're taking a bit of a summer break. We're going to be off for a couple weeks. So expect us to come back at the end of July, but we're going to take a couple weeks off. We'll see you off next week and then the summer.
And then you're going to be gone and I'm probably going to be working myself to oblivion. So it'll be fun.
Well, if that's how you want to use your free time, you'd go for it.
Man, I'm really hoping it's I can be get caught up on my day job and then just dive into writing. Maybe just zero in on it, but we'll see what happens.
Well, and this is the funny thing too, is now that this thing is entirely remote, I could record. I could bring some stuff with me and record even from Minnesota. But why would I want to?
Yeah, I was about to say that. I don't feel like it's that critical. We don't need to, I love doing the podcast, but you don't need to take shit and record on your vacation.
We're learning lessons from the past.
Yes.
And we're just going to take a planned break instead of having a full mental breakdown.
Yeah. Exactly.
Planned breaks, less mental breakdowns. We're going to go for that.
That needs to be on a shirt or a sticker or something.
Yeah. So that's what we got going on over the next few weeks. What are we talking about today?
So I have been reading, for some reason, I kicked off with the spookology stuff that you introduced me to. But from there, all the things I've been consuming and really liking have kind of followed that formula of somebody with a medium or psychic or ghostly ability talking to the dead, solving murders, that kind of stuff. So that's where my creative happy place is right now, is that genre. So of course it got me thinking of ghosts and spirits, but not in a scary, spooky way, more of a ghosts and spirits as characters in books or literary devices and things like that. So I figured we can kind of talk about spirits and ghosts as they relate to romances or literature or any type of media we like and how it relates to storytelling. So do you have, just off the top of your head, do you have a favorite ghost or spirits and either books or media shows, anything that stands out as like Casper, were you super into that as a kid or anything like that?
Okay, so my first thing was Casper.
I actually loved that movie when I was a kid.
I was going to say, it's the movie. It's the movie for me.
Yeah.
And then Hot Casper at the end, dancing with Christina Ricci. Devon Sawa.
Definitely remember, I think I was just old enough to start recognize, or I don't know if I was old enough to be this person's attractive, but I definitely was I like him as a human.
Yeah. Well, really, I mean, he was,
why.
he was pretty enough to appeal to all sectors. So,
for sure.
He's just one of those good looking 90s boys who so soft with the middle length hair, not quite long, but definitely not short. Yeah. He appealed to all sectors. Gay, straight, lesbian, bi, everybody liked him. Specifically in Casper. I don't know what happened to him after that.
He was so pretty.
Right? He was just pretty. Just pretty. Plus, he didn't have much to do, so there wasn't time to dislike him because he just showed up at the end to be hot.
Yeah, he's just there.
To float dance with Christina Ricci. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So I did love that movie as a kid. And then obviously I have a ghost who's important to me, Wallace in Under the Whispering Door.
Of course.
My first major publisher book. Thank you, Mr. TJ Klune.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was really, formative for me. And I guess like he wasn't a ghost. I mean, I guess he was a ghost. I don't think they ever called him that in the books. It's been so long now, so I'm probably talking out of my ass.
He was just a dead guy.
Yeah, he was a spirit. He had crossed over, but he was still there. He could walk through some things, but didn't fall through the floor, which I thought was... I really loved the part of that book where TJ kind of explored that. Like, as soon as he thought about, wait a minute, why am I not falling through the floor? He started falling through the floor.
So funny. I love that.
Because it's like, yeah, why can ghosts walk through walls, but not through floors?
Just don't think about it.
Yeah, just don't think about it. Which brings me to another really, like, one of my current obsessions is the CBS sitcom Ghosts, which is based on the BBC version of Ghosts, which is... Both are a lot of fun. I'm in the minority in thinking that I actually enjoy the American version better, but it's fun.
Okay.
It's fun. Highly recommend it if you want a little bit of paranormal sitcom hilarity with lots of like warmth, and it's got a gay ghost. There's a gay ghost in there.
Love.
So several, in fact, kind of come and go because obviously they need love interests. Those gay ghosts.
Is this a new like series, or is it like one of those old ones that's been around for a minute?
I think it's like on its 5th season or just finished its 4th or 5th season.
Okay, so it's ongoing. It's not like something that's been wrapped up. That's cool.
No. It is a current show, and I think it just got renewed for like 2 more seasons or something like that.
And it's just called Ghosts?
It's just called Ghosts on Paramount.
I'm going to write that down.
Dunk. Because in that show, they sort of mentioned like the wall floor thing. And I'm like, TJ Klune. Another one that I really loved, and this is sort of cheating because he is more of a spirit than a ghost, but he's a spirit of intellect in the Dresden Files.
Oh, nice.
Harry Dresden was the wizard's name, and then his little lab assistant was named Bob, and he was a spirit of intellect who lived in a skull unless, Harry would let him out to help with like lab stuff.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
He was fun.
Man,
and of course,
I need
he
to
was
get back
snarky.
into that series. Yeah. Well, I feel like ghosts either have to be wise or snarky.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no in between.
Better to be snarky. IMO. I also loved as a young person the cartoon Danny Phantom.
Yeah.
Where he gets ghost powers.
Danny was definitely on my list.
I loved that show. That was great.
Yeah.
I have to mention, for the sake of my husband, Force ghosts in the Star Wars universe.
Of course.
Naturally. They are very important. And then one final ghost of fiction that meant a lot to me throughout my life, the Holy Ghost.
There you go. I mean, it counts.
It is. It's
ghost.
As a recovering Catholic, it is actually one of the things that I liked about Christian teaching is like, all right, it's a little bonkers that there's like this man in the sky and then he sends his son down to earth to be human for a little while, very little while. But then he also is like, but I'm going to leave this spirit in the world to help guide you. I always liked that as part of the Catholic Church, that they were open to the spirit moving them. And so like they could actually sometimes change their mind about things.
Okay.
It takes a long ass time. But I like that they were willing to acknowledge that like, if we're going to believe in an all powerful person in the sky, then we can also believe in like some version of him that's still here shaping minds and hearts. And that is the Holy Spirit.
Nice.
Yeah. How about you? What are some ghosts from fiction that you like?
Like top of mind for some reason was Casper. I guess because I'm dialed into like the friendly ghost of it all right now. Yeah. Like with the ghosts coming and trying to like help solve their own murder and stuff like that. I of course love the ghosts in the stories that I'm listening to / reading. The spookology stuff the ones that you recorded.
Mm-hmm.
All of the ghosts in that one are deeply interesting, and it's fun because they're all different. So you like the first ghost I think that he had was that like sassy younger guy who's like Garrett or something like that, who like he appears and he's just such a shit. And I was so sad when he went away. Like when he was able to move on, it was very bittersweet. So I kind of like that series, how you just when you really start to know this ghost and really enjoy their company and figure out who they are, they move on. But I guess that's kind of the nature of what those stories are all about. I don't know. I think they should just keep like one or two really snarky ones, keep them forever. You know what I mean? Like they don't get to move on. They just need to stay.
Well, or they get replaced.
Oh yeah. Or they get replaced with an even sassier one. I don't know. And I'm also reading, what is it? Ghost of Lies by Alice Winter. I think that's the one I'm currently cracking out on. Yeah. Ghost of Lies by Alice Winters. And there is a ghost raven in that one whose name is Spite, who's just, he doesn't talk, but he's got like overflowing personality for like an animal. So he's just this little shit who pecks people, but he's a ghost. So nobody could see him. It's really fun. I really like it. So I think those are probably top list right now with Casper. Danny Phantom, of course, was like cornerstone for me when I was a kid because it was like perfect age Cartoon Network. Yeah. Like golden age of cartoons during that time. And then I think of Wallace, of course, is on there, but I figured we didn't need to address that twice. That one's a classic and always awesome. But for me as a weird little kid, I also had this deep attachment to Slimer from Ghostbusters. And this thing had no personality. Yeah. It was just there's like a monster or like a played for laughs kind of thing. But I loved him. Like I had all the little toys. I had Lunchbox. Like I wanted a little chaos ghost best friend so bad. That was what I desperately needed. I'm trying to think if there's any ghosts that I've seen recently, but I don't think so. Like in movies and media and stuff like that. I just recently rewatched The Sixth Sense and I forgot how good that one was.
Oh yeah, classic.
That one was one of those. I think that was also one of the first movies that really got me with the twist. So I think it'll just live rent free in my brain.
I'm so glad I got to watch that movie before the twist was spoiled by the internet. I'm so glad that movie came out before the internet.
Yeah, because the next day it would have been like the headline of something would just spoil the entire thing.
Do you think that's why nobody likes M. Night Shyamalan movies anymore?
You know what, me and Alex were just talking about that? Because everything gets so spoiled
so quickly, and like his signature twist at the end is like, well, it gets ruined, and then you're like, whatever.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of that, and also that one was so good that I think he's been trying to match that level of like, oh shit, I didn't see that coming for like the rest of his career. Because most of the other twists in his movie, I'm like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Or like, I clocked it, or it was so out of left field, I never would have guessed it, so it was frustrating. But that one was just really good. But yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think those are my favorite right now. I'm sure I forgot how much I love the Casper one. I keep seeing that kid's face every time I click into the tab. I don't know if Gina Davis's character from Ghostbusters counts, but I really liked her a lot too. Like they were ghosts, but they had.
I don't remember.
Huh?
I don't remember what she was.
Beetlejuice, like.
Oh, and Beetlejuice.
Her and her husband. Yeah. I forgot their names. It was Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis, but I forgot their characters' names. But them as ghosts, I thought was so fun, especially because they befriended the little girl who, was an outcast and stuff. So of course I could relate to that as an angsty little goth girl. But yeah, I loved them being like trapped in the house, but then also getting like crazy fun poltergeist powers that they never quite used for evil because they weren't evil people. So they just kind of did fun, stupid shit, but that actually didn't help the situation at all. Yeah, I loved them a lot.
It's been so long since I saw Beetlejuice. And I did not watch the sequel when it came out.
Yeah, sequel's not good. Like fun. I know a lot of people really liked it because I think they had a lot of nostalgia for the first one, but it was a mess. It just wasn't well written. There was too many plot threads happening. It just was not good. But the first one still holds up. It's a classic. It's very good.
Okay.
Still very funny.
Good.
I don't know. Did you ever do like ghost stories as a kid? Do you have favorite like campfire ghost spooky stories that you enjoyed?
No, because I watched one episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark and it scarred me for life. So,
do you remember which one it was?
It was something about a frozen girl in a lake.
A frozen girl in the lake?
And she was probably a ghost and like came back to haunt people. And that was enough for me. I was like, nope, thank you and good night. Done. Am I afraid of the dark? Indeed I am.
Yes.
So I shan't be watching this show. Yeah.
Man, I can't remember. I definitely remember the Goosebumps. Not Are You Afraid of the Dark, but like the Goosebumps one with the mask. It was like one with a green mask that I really liked. And I remember, I think I had it on VHS or something because I watched it a lot. But it was like this kid who got like a green Halloween mask and it was causing crazy mayhem. And I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. I don't think that was ghosts. I think it was more of like demons. But man, it was really cool. And I remember ghost stories involving a guy with a hook for a hand. And I can't remember all of it now. But it was definitely one of those like spooky spirit kind of haunting situation where he would come back and wreak havoc on people who dared repeat the story or show up at his old house or something like that. Like, I feel like these ghosts don't really have the rules nailed down very tightly, where it's like either you have to repeat their name into a mirror or you just show up at the wrong place at the wrong time and that gives them license to like come after you. I don't know. They need to figure their shit out.
As previously mentioned, if we get into the rules of ghostdom too much, the whole thing unravels. So
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, we'll just keep it nebulous and fun.
Yeah.
Ghosts can do what they want. Exactly. No ghost shaming here.
No ghost shaming. We're very ghost positive on this podcast.
We're very ghost positive. Since I've been reading more about ghosts, I kind of enjoyed the symbolism that ghosts can use in media, and especially in literature and things like that. Like, they're not just sassy, fun characters who show up for good zingers and one-liners and then float off and do stuff. Mm-hmm. But they also are great devices for a lot of very human emotions that I think a lot of us have a hard time processing or maybe coming to terms with. Top of mind ones, grief, of course. Like, a lot of ghosts in literature deal with, like, you know, not being able to let go of people who have passed, or the idea of dying with unresolved things that you feel like you've lost. Like, I think one of my favorite running jokes is like, oh man, I forgot how it went, but it was like basically an author who is haunted by the fact that they never finished their manuscript, so they never move on.
They just have to hang out forever.
They just have to, because they have unfinished business. And I was like, I mean, that counts, right? Wouldn't that suck if you're like, everything else is buttoned up, but you didn't finish that like short story for a magazine and now you're stuck? Somebody's had to have written that story, but if not, somebody do that, because I love that. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if I think Under the Whispering Door did great when it came to like unpacking grief, as far as like using ghosts to talk about letting things go or moving on past
and trauma, like
and trauma, big time for trauma.
Yeah, that sometimes it's even the trauma of death that can keep you where you are.
That's true. Another one too is like mistakes. I think they all kind of like roll in together, but the mistakes, I think, is a good one that I love the use of. It's like one of the reasons that they hang around is because they feel like they didn't have that connection with something, like a parent who was too harsh on their child, or like you never said sorry about something that they fundamentally screwed up in a relationship, like dying when, like, after you had a fight with somebody and like your last words are, you know, like, go to hell, you know what I mean? And then like you never get to resolve that part of your relationship. It's one of those ones that kind of is bittersweet, because it's interesting, but also I think everybody can relate to in a way that is like kind of hurts, but also reminds you that it's not too late to fix.
Right. As long as it isn't too late, which is
right. Yeah.
Hopefully the lesson we take away from that is to not put yourself never walk away from a situation where you would regret if that was your last encounter with that person.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. It's hard to remember to do that, and especially in the moment. Like, I'm very bad about like, you know, doubling down and like stomping my foot and being like, no, fuck that guy kind of thing. I'm getting better about it. Like, just especially reading a lot of ghost stories and stuff. I'm like, I should call my brother and tell him I don't hate him. You know, just like,
maybe it's a text.
Maybe it's a text. There you go. That's fair. Feel like, hey, you're all right, I guess. So
I would like it in writing that I don't hate you.
Yeah.
I disagree with almost everything you stand for, but
yeah, exactly. I don't hate you. I hate a lot of facets of your personality, but I don't hate you.
Yeah.
So you don't have to.
But at the same time, see that you can't make it about you.
Right.
Because wouldn't that put a burden on him then to be like, oh, great, my sister doesn't like me. She loves me.
Yeah, I guess that would.
She loves me, but she doesn't like me. And and then if he gets hit by a bus, you're like, whew, I'm so glad I told him I loved him. And he dies being like, well, that bitch really doesn't like me. Huh.
Yeah, then knowing my luck, it'd just be him trying to resolve that and haunting me for the rest of my life. Like, no, it's fine. It's fine.
Just hovering over you at night. You wake up and he's wearing a red hat, cocking a gun, popping a beer.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's another great story. What would you even do? How do you like cleanse a house if it's like a redneck who's
just a redneck ghost?
Yeah, just a redneck ghost. Like, do you do like, I don't know, a piece of sage and like a Budweiser outside and like try to just chase him out? I don't know.
I think you just invite a non-binary person over.
They just have to leave at that point.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't get this at all. Bye.
Yeah. This is too woke and they just fucking float out.
Invite your friends where one of them is black, one of them is non-binary, and they've adopted a Native American child.
Done.
It'll break their brain and out the door they will go.
Yes. They will be forced to move, like go towards the light because they cannot stay there. Oh, that's fucking funny. I love that.
We're solving problems out here.
We really are.
If that's what you are struggling with, redneck ghosts, contact Hoof and Fang at...
Yeah, we could give you suggestions, help you out. We can't solve it for the other way around, though. If you've got like a non-binary, left-leaning ghost, you're stuck with it, and you're welcome.
You probably deserve it.
You probably deserve it. Did you tell them that you love them, but you didn't like them? Yeah. Well, the last thing I had was devices to overcome past and grow as characters. I think that's fundamentally why we have ghosts or like
ghost stories. Yeah.
Yeah. Ghost stories as quiet reminders and warnings to not be asses and to forgive and, be the bigger person, say the things you're scared to say, because otherwise either they'll die and you never get a chance, or they'll haunt you. And then you got to deal with that whole mess. Right. So that's
it's because we're all afraid of our own mortalities, and so we want to believe that there's something that comes after that who we are is some essence inside of us, and not synapses firing in our brain.
Right.
So
right. Yeah.
But
ghost stories.
I love them right now. If you have some ghost stories, either personal from your real life or just some favorite ghosts from media that we did not mention, drop a comment wherever it is you are watching or listening to this so that we can hear your take on ghosts in the media. And I'm also particularly interested if you have any ghost stories from your real life.
Do you? So I didn't even ask you at the beginning of this. Do you believe in ghosts at all? Are you a ghost person?
I believe in them.
Okay.
I'm not sensitive to that wavelength, but I have a friend who really gets very specific feelings about presences.
Interesting.
And I believe her. I'm like, yeah, I don't, she seems like a stable human being and in most respects. And therefore, if this is something she really feels is real and she can sense, and just because I can't doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Fair enough.
But
I am 100% a skeptic. I am a certified flopdoodle, to use a very outdated term of skeptics.
Okay.
I don't believe in ghosts, spirits, any of that. But I'm definitely one of those people that the evidence to me is not there. But if I found somebody who was genuinely able to, has the gift or the shine or whatever you call it, I'd listen. I'm not an asshole about it. So I would love to understand more of that. And see something like that in real life. Because I think everyone has cool ghost stories. Like, I definitely remember stuff as a little kid that I think is just little kid imagination that isn't real. But yeah, like if your friend can send stuff like that, that's super cool. I would love to know more about it. But as far as like whether or not I would believe immediately, probably not. But I'd be willing to listen. So yeah, if you have, the gift, as it were, or cool stories, love to hear them either way.
Yeah. And you can also reach out to us on social media. We're over on Instagram and TikTok. Our website, hoofandfangpodcast.com, or you can email us at hoofandfangpodcast@gmail.com. Actually, strike the thing about the website. Website's still down. We're still doing some planning for the future. No website. No website.
Just
for now.
It was a test.
Just social media, and you can email us as well. But as previously stated, we will be back next week, and then we're taking a little bit of a break.